Hey, this is the Braxman here with a Raid Shadowlands video. Today we have a champion guide for Apothecary. With it, we are going to be discussing his kit, how to gear him, what types of stats and substats we are looking for on those pieces of gear. We'll be showing off his masteries, and then we'll show him off in the various places within the game that he can be used, such as in the dungeons and arena aspects of the game. So with that said, let's get into it. So open him up. So let's go. Here's my Apothecary. So first we are discussing his kit. Well, first, actually before I even discuss his kit, Apothecary is a high elf. In the high elf faction, he is a rare support champ, and is probably one of the best or most used rares in the game. Can be used to the end portion of this game. But isn't not necessarily used in that fashion. So with that said, his kit, his A1 Scatter Bolt, attacks 3 times at random. This is really nice in the Fire Knight, because with the shield that the Fire Knight puts out, 10 hits, with this 3 times, and there's only being 1 enemy, it drops that 10 hit shield to 7. He is nice because that is his A1. He has that multi-hit. Really nice. But isn't necessarily the reason why he is endgame or one of the best champs or rare champions out there. Next one is A2, Soothing Chant. Heals a target ally by 35% hit points. This heal can be critical. So if you have him at 100% crit rate, we have more chance of getting even larger heal. You may even know. So heals a target ally by 35% HP. If you book him up, it gets it to 50 HP. So it gives you 50% chance of HP, and goes from a 2 or a 3 turn cooldown to a 2 turn cooldown. This is awesome. He can easily put out those heals really quickly because of short cooldown periods. Another is A3, Boon of Speed. Places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%. And this currently is at a 3 turn cooldown, but without books, it's a 5 turn cooldown. This is probably the skill that he is best used for, because the best skill that he has on him. Reason for it, he's placing that increased speed buff, which allows it so that all of your allies go and do more turns fast, plus filling the turn meter, so it allows your champions to get another turn in. And if you build Apothecary to be super fast, it allows you to get more turns in, allowing the Boon of Speed, filling the turn meter, increased speed buff. It'll make it so that you get more turns in before your enemy does. That's probably the reason why he's best known for. Next, you have his Aura. Increases ally defense in dungeons by 21%. Awesome. That's one of the reasons why he is best specifically in dungeons, because of the Aura. Aura allows for him and the rest of his team to have more defense and more sustainability. And then the Boon of Speed allows them to go faster, so they have the sustain, and they can land more hits faster. That is probably the reason why he is best in the game. So when building Apothecary, I definitely recommend putting all your books into him. He is a champion. If you build him out to go really fast with all your books, it increases that cooldown or puts the cooldown so it's 2 to 3 turns. So he can cycle through his actions faster. Okay. So that was his kit. Now we are going to be discussing what you want to do with his champion in gearing. So when building Apothecary, the first thing you realize, since he Since he isn't placing any debuffs, isn't decreasing turn meter on any opponent, you do not need to put any accuracy on him. He can not have... The only accuracy you could probably have on him is Great Hall. Beyond that, you do not want any of the gear on him to have accuracy. It can, but it isn't recommended because he isn't placing any debuffs or decreased turn meter. Next, we are looking for speed on this champion. Speed is key with Apothecary. You want him to go as fast as possible. So currently, I have my champion, my Apothecary, at 232 speed. If you can, this is with the best gear I currently have on this champion. But if you can, always go as much speed as you can. So 200, 300, 400 if you want to go crazy. I don't think that's possible, but more the merrier. Because the more speed you have on him, the more times he can cycle through his turns or his actions. So he can place his A3, which is that increased speed buff, and then the fill turn meter. And then with his A2, if he does more actions, he is able to place that heal even on faster and keep your whole team healed and fully healthy. So you want his speed to be up as high as possible. So what I failed to mention is within his skills, only one of them is attack based. The rest are not based on any attack or defense or HP. No, only the A1. So when building him, yes, you can have crit rate, you can have crit damage, but it isn't needed because he only has his A1 that is capable of actually hurting the enemy. So his crit rate, crit damage, not necessarily needed. What he's best used is staying alive, putting out those turns. So when gearing him, you want as much HP and defense as much as you can get on him. So if he stays alive, does lots of speed, he's able to place all those out. That is the key to understanding and building a good Apothecary. So in mine, you want around 2,500 defense as a good defensive stat for him. If you have a little lower, that is fine. I recommend also, in addition to that, as much HP as you can possibly put on him. Reason for that, more HP, he stays alive, the sustainability, same thing with defense. So, you may have noticed that I have, so for his sets, I have 2 speed sets and a divine speed set. If you cannot put a divine speed set, a regular speed set is fine. The reason why I put the divine is the same amount of speed increase, but as the HP self-shield for 3 turns. I like that little buffer, that little safety zone of the shield. If you don't have that, that is fine. Just try and get him as much speed as possible. So for this top 3, you have your attack. These are always the same. So you have your weapon, which is attack based. You have your helmet, which is HP based, and shield, which is defensive based. When getting those, you always want to have some form of speed subset. As you notice, my shield has a 2 hit on speed. My helmet doesn't, but it at least has a speed. I couldn't find a helmet that actually had multiple rolls on my speed. That wasn't used for another champion at the moment. Next, my weapon, it has another hit on my speed. So it probably was originally at a 4. Now, since it was rolled again, as an 8. All of those had some form of speed, which allowed it so my champion will go faster. Next, speed boots. You want them so you can get as much speed as possible. It helps you get those turns through. Next, let me stop. Boots can have different, the attack percent, defense, HP percent. You always, for Apothecary, you want speed, speed, speed. Cannot say that enough. That's all you want on him. So next, for the chest plate, it can also differ. This one I recommend a HP percent or a defensive percent. This is allowing him to get that sustainability. I do not have any defensive percentage based chest plates that are currently not in use. I only have this HP, but also it has a speed roll or speed second roll on it, which makes it really nice. Next, same thing, you want an HP or defensive with a speed roll. And this fits the bill. Okay. So for accessories. First, ring, you're going to want a HP or a defensive based primary stat just for the sustainability. And then whatever substats you get, you're going to also want to aim for the sustainability, HP and defensive. Same thing goes for the amulet, HP or defensive. Currently, the defensive one I have on my Apothecary is the best I could get. Next, you have your banner. I personally put an attack-based banner. This isn't what I would normally put on him. Currently, this is the only banner I have that actually has a speed roll on it. Otherwise, I would use, if I had an HP or a defensive with a speed roll, I would put those in. Accuracy, as I told you, because he isn't placing a debuff or decreasing turn meter, accuracy is not needed, so I would not recommend putting an accuracy banner on unless that has a speed roll. So I've showed you how I would gear him, talked about that. Next, with showing this, we are going to pull up his masteries. I recommend, as most other content creators would also say, do not copy these masteries blindly. Always want to choose what you are wanting your Apothecary to do. This is what I recommend. So I built mine to sustain, and if it does go in any dungeon, I want to be able to have it do some damage. That's why I put on the offensive tree, I have my Apothecary in a Giant Slayer mastery. So he gets that chance of bonus damage and doing more damage to the boss or any other mob or round before the boss. It allows him to get a little bit more damage in. You could do a defensive support section because you want the sustain, but if you're putting him in dungeons or arena, those are most likely places you're wanting him to be a supportive and then having a little bit of an ability to hit the enemy and take down their health. So you're most likely going to stay within offensive and support tree. So within the support, always going to recommend the max HP 810, getting more health. And then you're going to want to stay a little bit on the left because of his A2. You got the healing capability. This one increases the heal of what my champion casts, as well as the healing savior increases the healing and the value of shield buffs placed by this champion if the target ally has 40% or less HP. So if they're dying, he places the health. It makes it so that that champion heals even more. I really love Spirit Haste. If he's one of the champions, if you build him really heavily on sustain, if all the rest of your champions die, he is probably a champion that could last through that dungeon. Because he has that speed and is able to hit and then heal himself if he ever dies. But if all your rest of your champions are dead, he has that increased speed because of Spirit Haste, which makes him go even faster. Probably one of the best ones. I would highly recommend Spirit Haste if you could get on the Spirit support tree. So, as again, do not copy these blindly. If you can change this up how you want your Apothecary to be, but this is what I recommend. Next, I am going to be showing you him off in a few different regions of the game. Probably the best place for him, at least for what I've got, I love him in Dragon's Lair. He has helped me tremendously in there. with him putting those the heal, keeping my champions alive. So currently I have this. Typically I have Lysandra as my leader, but for this case we're showing Apothecary, which can do the exact same thing as Lysandra, except for the decreased turn meter. But both are great. Since Elenarl is not mostly accessible for most players, I am going to choose a different champion. I'm going to take out the Vault. I think I am going to place... Why not? Let's put in... I want a Poisoner. Where's my Kale? There you are. Okay. So right here, we are showing off Apothecary. Okay. So I couldn't stop in fast enough, but Apothecary with his first one, while on auto, made it so that he hit his A3, which is the increased speed increased speed buff he placed on all allies, and filling their turn meter by 15%. Since he has his highest speed, he went first, which is what we want. Then we want, so for Dragon, we are wanting our decreased defense, poisons, if we can get them. We want a CC, crowd control. These are all things I've talked about in previous video. In my Dragon video, I'll link that video to this if you want to talk about Dragon. But Apothecary is meant to make it so that the rest of my champions on this team go faster and stay alive. That is his main goal within the Dragon or any dungeon. You want everyone to go faster and stay alive. And he fits the bill perfectly. This should be a 3 to 4 minute run because of my Apothecary. He allows everyone to do faster, but not all of these champions are fully built. Say, namely Kale, he's only at 50, level 50. He isn't at 60, nor is he fully geared correctly. I wanted him to be put in there so you could see a Kale or a rare Poisoner can do just as well with an Apothecary. Plus, he's easier accessible. I don't want this to be shown as high champions. I'm showing you this so you can see how rares or below can be able to complete these as well. As you notice, Apothecary speeded everyone up, allowed you to get more turns in before the enemy. Before the enemy does, allowing you to take them down faster. So, hopefully this round right here should be done in 2 minutes 40 seconds. That's my guess. So, in addition to dungeon runs, I'm also going to show Apothecary in Arena. He is awesome in Arena. He has the capability of that speed, his A3, allowing it so the rest of your team is faster. He can be put in there because of that, the extra speed. He's also really great in Clan Boss, especially early on. Later on, not necessarily needed. There are other champions that can fit and do better jobs than he can because of the heal. But Clan Boss, in the early stages, you want that increased speed, allowing your champions to do more attacks, because in the early game you do not necessarily have the sustain. Apothecary allows you to do that, so he fits the net bill of doing Clan Boss very good in the beginning. I was a little off for this Dragon run on that round 2. I thought it was going to be 2 minutes 40, turned out about 3 minutes 20. I was off, sorry. But yeah, he fits a lot of dungeons, can be used in Clan Boss. I'm not going to necessarily show him off in there because he is not tuned correctly with my team. It would be messy and it wouldn't do well. Plus, I do not have a Clan Boss key at the moment. But after this Dragon run, I'll show him off in two arenas to show you how he does in the arena. So far, doing well. He has all the increased speed buff on all of my champions, making it so that each of them hit harder, or not hit harder, get more turns in. With Apothecary just places heal on Kale, allowing him to heal. Apothecary, I mentioned earlier, you want to place all your rare books, if you can, on him, because you want him to cycle through his actions with a low cooldown capability, so he's able to heal and do the boost turn meter. Voila, he just did his boost turn meter. This should be done before 5 minutes. Voila, the heal again. Voila. We were able to complete it. And sell this piece. But yeah, so you notice he had a decent amount of heal put out, decent amount of damage because of the Giant Slayer and then the offensive tree. Most of the damage, if I was not on the offensive tree and the masteries, probably wouldn't exist. But that's the reason why I keep the offensive. You could do defensive, but I want him to be able to at least do some damage. So now with that said, I'm going to show him off. I'm going to show him off in the arena. I reset it because there are a few that I cannot do. Let's see if I can find. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, where's my Apothecary? There you are. Apothecary, Lysandra, in this type of job, pretty much do the exact same thing. And I've taken out Lysandra because I want him to be the one that does the speed boosting rather than my Lysandra. So with that said, I'm going to show you how he works. Luckily, this one doesn't start off immediately on auto. So now, first thing, we are wanting him to make it so the speed boost. Take out Haikatoon. Okay, so I'm going to do my Lonicus on, let's see if we take out. That did not turn out as well as I was hoping. This may or may not go well. I haven't used. Okay. In this case, I'm going to put that, well, on Apothecary. Ooh, he had the fear. Dang it. Okay. See if we can debuff them. Remove those debuffs. But we had him place that increased speed buff. Sadly, our Madame Ceres on the opposing team was able to tear it apart. Go after Valkyrie. Almost time to reset that increased speed buff. And decrease turn meter. Voila! We are putting that increased speed, allowing them to go fast. So I am going to put this on auto. I want them to be taking out Valkyrie. She's the biggest problem on the team, on the opposing team, beyond Madame Ceres. So, Apothecary heals. So, in the build that I just showed you can be used from beginning to end game. Just having that speed, it's the same throughout the full game. That's what makes him work, is just having tons of speed. Sadly, this arena is not going to go as well. I need my Apothecary to even have some more speed or have more sustainability, at least for this match. But for beginners, mid-game, end game, speed is key. That's what makes him well. hopefully my miscreated monster and Elgias will finish off Aethel. Well, I won. I was able to pull a win. So with this said, with that, I hope I was able to help you in building your apothecary. And I hope this was helpful. If you wouldn't mind supporting me by giving this video a like, a comment, and subscribe to my channel, it is very appreciative. And so that you can see future video content I make about Raid Shadow Legends. Hit also the notification bell by the subscribe button so you can see what other videos I post. With that said, I hope you all have a good day. Have a good one. Bye.